And welcome back to the show. It's Liquid Lunch. It's me, Hugh, and Maha is here today. She's back.
Again.
Again.
The cat came back.
Like, can't get rid of that cat. And we're here with, we've got Sylvia Shackleton joining us here on the show. And Sylvia came all the way from Hamilton.
Yes.
And you probably, you run an, you're a naturopathic doctor, first
Yes.
of all, which is, that's quite an achievement all on its own. And,
Thank you.
And I understand you do orthotics.
Yes, I do orthotics.
Yeah. Is that like the major part of your practice, or is that really the focus of what you do in the healthcare
It's
field?
the missing piece in most applications of healthcare. It's the missing piece.
Okay. So that's really interesting. And I know we were talking before, and you were telling us a little bit about it, and I wanted to get some orthotics done right away.
She does do them right away, right?
Yes.
Really? Right
It's,
away?
it's called Orthotics to go.
There you go.
What you need.
So you come in, you get the method demonstrated to you, then you get fitted, then you walk around on them, you see the benefits immediately, and then you can go home.
And
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And then it continues on changing your body as you're...
Yes.
It kind of reminds me, because a friend of mine gave me a pair of shoes. They were from those, and you were mentioning the Maasai tribe just the other day, but these shoes are based on the Maasai tribe, and they walk around in their bare feet, I guess, and they have really good posture. Mm-hmm. Is it, I mean, let's talk about orthotics and what it really does, because a lot of people don't even know what it is. A lot of people never think about it.
You're right.
And
You're
how
right
it-
about that.
And when you say, because people talk about posture, but you're saying it's really the missing piece that can really address
A lot
many
of
health-
issues,
Yeah.
yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
So in our culture, we walk on hard surfaces. We're on cement, we're on pavement, we're on even indoors, hardwood floors, ceramics. So as the foot walks on these hard surfaces over the years, the ligaments and the muscles, the holding elements get stretched, and the foot eventually falls down. So when you're putting your whole body weight on your foot, you can't expect these little tiny muscles in the back of your leg to hold your arch up with all your body weight on it. So what happens then, the foot falls down, immediately the ankle bone rotates internally. When the ankle bone turns internally, there's a notch joint in there. In carpentry, you'd call it a mortise joint. That causes the main bone between the knee and the ankle to rotate internally. When that happens, it takes the whole knee and rotates it internally. Because the knee has ligaments, front, side, and back, that cause it to move as a unit. So when it turns in, it opens the knee joint on the inside and closes it on the outside. It creates uneven wearing in the knee, and that's why people end up getting knee replacement. Now, as the knee turns in, the femur bone goes all the way up. There's a 100-degree angle, and then it goes into the hip joint. So when the knee turns in, that ball in the socket has to rotate outward. It has to. This destabilizes the pelvis. The pelvis is no longer level. So the sacrum, which is the base of the whole spine, is not level anymore. It causes tipping, tilting, and rotation in the lumbar spine. So up to now, from the foot up to the spine, we're just talking about architecture, if you will. We're talking about structure. But when it hits the spine, it starts to interfere with the nervous system. So it shuts off 3 groups of muscles, the abs, the glutes, and the quads. And what are they always trying to sell you on TV, on all the shows?
Buns of steel?
Yeah, buns and abs of steel. And so then they have all kinds of sit-ups and rockers and rotational devices and exercises, but you can't exercise a muscle that's turned off at the switch. If you do, you injure it.
So how do you turn on a muscle at the switch? Like, how do you turn it on and off?
The first thing you do is you put the orthotic in the shoe, realign the foot, the ankle, the knee, the hip, and the low back. Immediately the abs, glutes, and quads become strong, and you don't have to do all that exercise then. But that's only half of the equation. When the abs, the glutes, and the quads are turned off because of a flat foot, 3 other muscle groups become too tight because they're on a different circuit and they're taking up the slack.
Which ones?
The iliopsoas, the quadratus lumborum, and the erector spinae become too tight.
I think I might know what some of those are.
They become too tight. And what they do is the iliopsoas muscle is attached to all 5 lumbar vertebrae. It's literally pulling down on them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 months a year.
You see, this is why I want orthotics right now.
Okay, well, we're going to get them right after
this.
this.
Because I'm like,
You have
I'm
issues.
there.
So it's holding the lumbar spine in a vise, and it's destroying the discs and the nerve roots coming out from the spinal cord. So this lends you to get herniated discs, sciatic nerve problems. Even when the facets become jammed at the back of the lumbar spine, you get backache. So I've always been able to get people out of a herniated disc where they're in excruciating pain. I can get them in 3 days or less.
Just with some orthotics.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really
Yes.
great.
So you take the orthotics, put them on first, reset all the muscles, and then you open up the disc at the front so the gel can go back where it initially was, take all the pressure off the spinal cord and the nerve root, and you've solved the problem. Now, I've herniated my own disc, so I've been there, done that, and this works on an ongoing, continual basis.
And that's, can I just say, because that's a huge problem, right?
It is huge.
Lower back pain. And people say that once you hurt it to the point where you're in pain or debilitated for a couple of days, that you're never going to be the same again, right? And this is why I always tell young people when they're lifting heavy stuff, you got to lift with your legs and all that kind of stuff, because I know from my own personal experience that if you don't, because you're not feeling the pain, you're going to, by the time you do feel the pain, it's going to be too late. But are you saying you can actually go in even after that kind of horrible lower back pain and really help somebody on a permanent basis?
Yes.
Do enough people know about that? Because
Not
there's
enough.
a lot of people walking around in permanent back pain.
That's right. Not enough
The biggest
people know.
complaint.
Yeah.
Not enough people know.
I have a question. What if I have flat feet from from birth?
Yeah. I had flat feet in kindergarten.
Yeah. So does that change my I don't feel?
If you have flat feet from early age, it's because the ligaments are stretched already. Because a lot of people nowadays, they have a baby, they bring the baby home from the hospital, they immediately go out and buy shoes to protect the baby's feet. But the shoes are flat on the bottom. So they push the baby's foot down in there, lace it up good and tight, and that's the first time the foot gets crushed.
Wow.
Then they put them in the jolly jumper or the walker, and they make the child walk before the foot's ready to be walked on. It's not calcified. The ligaments and muscles aren't working yet. And so the damage is done very early on.
And your
But
feet
even
are so important. All of the nerve endings, the reflexology and all of right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
What
got-
about that? That's a...
Right? The feet are really
Appreciated.
underappreciated.
Well, your body is like a hologram. So there's a whole map
Hologram.
of your body. There's a whole map of your body on your hand, on your foot, on your ear, and in your iris of your eye.
Cool.
So the iris of the eye can be used for diagnosis. And people who are really good at it can even see the timeline of when certain things happen to you
Heard about
by
that.
looking in the eye.
Yeah.
But when you're fitting the orthotic, what you want is strong muscles that hold the arch of the foot up You want to put the arch back in its original position, which we do every day, and then you mold the orthotic up into the corrected bony arch so it's architecturally correct. Then it goes in the shoe. As you walk on it, your body is intelligent. It has internal mechanisms that reset all the switches for you.
Cool. You need orthotics right away.
Well, you know, I feel pretty healthy, but somehow it sounds like almost that almost everybody needs this.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
accurate?
Everybody who walks.
Right.
Everybody needs it.
And a lot of people don't even think about it. Right?
That's right.
And we talk about this, and it sounds very physical. You know, it's the feet, it's the legs, the muscles, but more than turning. Correct me if I'm wrong, but more than turning muscle systems off, once it gets into the nervous system, once it starts to affect the nervous system, the spinal system, there's other things that can, other conditions, illnesses that can arise, like
Exactly.
migraine headaches, for example, maybe is one example. And can you give some other examples of some of the health problems that aren't physical that can be helped with orthotics?
Could I talk about the physical ones first?
Okay. Yeah.
The iliopsoas muscle has two branches. The first branch attaches to all 5 lumbar vertebrae, and it holds the lumbar spine in a vise. The second layer of iliopsoas attaches at the back of the diaphragm, along with the quadratus lumborum, and they're both pulling externally. So they pull the diaphragm open. The stomach rides up into the chest cavity, and it takes up the space the heart should have. And if you look at the body's picture from the side view, there isn't enough space for the stomach to be in the chest cavity, so it's putting pressure on the heart. Now, if this happens in the end of the day, you eat a big meal, your stomach's full of food, and it's sliding up into the chest cavity, you have a problem. And this is one of the reasons why people die of heart attacks in the night.
Wow.
And it happened to my grandmother, which is what forced me to study all this and figure out what the cause was. Now, years ago, in the 70s and the 80s, they used to do surgery for hiatus hernia. So they would open the person up, pull the stomach back down, and stitch the diaphragm together. But the minute you get up and walk, the psoas muscle pulls the diaphragm open again, and back up goes the stomach. So it's always treated now with drugs.
Where you're saying
With
orthotics, you could deal with the root cause of that.
Yes, we can bypass all the treatment and go right to the cause, and not have the problem at all needing to be treated. So then you don't need the Tums and the Rolaids and the pink liquid and the purple pill and the Zantac and all those products. And if you take those products, they go down into your stomach, they neutralize your hydrochloric acid and reduce your ability to digest proteins. So the proteins are still in there, so they leak into the bloodstream, trigger the immune system to produce antibodies, and now you've got allergies that you otherwise wouldn't have.
So
If you were
Wow, that's a lot of chain reactions.
Yes.
So there's just
Dominoes.
So orthotics can help with allergies even, or prevent,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Awesome.
let's talk about your background a little. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Because it reestablishes your nervous system up and down the whole spine. It reestablishes normal muscle function. So if your arteries, your veins, and your lymphatics are working properly, obviously all the organs in the abdominal cavity are going to be working at a higher level of perfection than otherwise maybe working at 70 or 80%.
So your immune system's going to benefit, which means that other diseases that might otherwise gain a foothold in your
Exactly.
body, because you're just operating at a higher level, you're keeping almost everything
Yeah.
away.
Because when those muscles pull the diaphragm open, the diaphragm is the muscle you breathe with. Mm-hmm. So when it's out of position and it's not contracting properly, pulling down, sucking the air into the lungs and letting it out again, you're just not breathing deeply. You're not oxygenating the lower half of your lungs. Mm-hmm. And every time you breathe, that diaphragm's supposed to come down and massage the liver, the gallbladder, the spleen, and the pancreas. And they need that. The gallbladder needs that to empty. So if that's not happening, you're going to get congestion and stones building up in the gallbladder. And then you're going to be subject to gallbladder surgery.
It almost sounds like all you need is orthotics.
It's the missing piece.
It is.
That would help everybody enjoy a much higher quality of life.
Okay, so you mentioned you got into this, but let's hear your story. But I know you used to be a nurse, right? So
yes.
So can you tell your story from
from
why
the
you got
beginning
into healthcare maybe in the first place?
Okay.
Go into nursing and then your journey to what you're doing today.
Okay. I was a little girl, and the doctor made house calls, and he came in with his big bag of drugs. He gave them to us. I had brothers and a sister, and it didn't help. So he came back with the injectables. My sister nearly died with anaphylactic shock from penicillin. And I thought, that's not good, right? So then they came back. They thought I had a inflammation of the tonsil. They came back. They literally took my tonsils out on the dining room table. They threw a towel over my face, sprayed it with ether. I thought I was choking to death. And when I woke up, my tonsils were gone. And they said, you can eat anything you like. But I felt like a rotor-rooter had just gone through my throat, and I didn't want anything.
See, because when I was a kid, I heard that, right? When you get your tonsils out, you get to eat ice cream. So I wanted to get my tonsils out.
Yeah.
But I never did.
Good for you. You're lucky, because the tonsil is the lymphatic drainage organ to the skull. And if you don't have it, all the functions in your head don't drain properly. And I was foggy from then on. I had trouble in school. They wanted to hold me back in public school. My parents wouldn't have it, so they pushed me ahead. And I got through public and high school. I came to Toronto. I worked in a brokerage firm as a girl Friday, answering the phone and making coffee for the salesman. And I realized my life has to start sometime. I've got to do what I came here to do. Mm-hmm. So I went in nursing because I wanted to see what they're doing behind the white curtain. While I was in nursing, I never once heard a doctor or a nurse talk about the cause of any of the problems that people have. Yeah. And I said, why don't they care about the cause? Yeah. I want to get out of here where I can find out what the cause is. So I went into chiropractic. But I realized right away bones don't jump around by themselves. Muscles and ligaments move bones. So if I don't address the muscular system and the organ system behind it, why would I be adjusting the bone week after week after week after week? So I left chiropractic and I went into naturopathy. But then I noticed the tendency is, okay, we don't have drugs and medicine and surgery and all of that. So now we use water, we use diet, we use heat, we use cold, we use herbs, but they still treat the symptoms. Right. Mm-hmm. So I said, I still have to find the cause. Mm-hmm. So fortunately, I went to a seminar. I met George Goodhart, who was the developer and inventor of Applied Kinesiology. And with Applied Kinesiology, you treat the body as if it were a computer, and you test all the muscles that are tied into all the organ systems. You ask it questions, and you do only what the body wants you to do. So I practiced this technique on my clients for 3 years. I kept good records. And after 3 years, I went through all my records and I found out of all the 50 to 100 things that people had wrong with them, there were only 8 things that were common to every single person. It didn't matter if they were old, young, sick, well, men, women, children, didn't matter. They all had the same 8 things. I said, wow, I've got to fix these first now that I know what they are. So I started fixing the 8 things, and then I'm going to deal with their complaint. But to my utter amazement, when I fixed the 8 things, their complaint was gone.
Awesome.
So what were the 8 things?
And I said, thank you, God, you showed me the cause after all these years, right?
Awesome.
So I finally knew the cause, and I'm fixing the cause on people every time they come in. I'm doing the 8 things. And then one day a lady came in, she walked to her car, and next thing I know, she's back in the waiting room. And so I said, what's the problem? And she said, well, I think I lost my treatment. And all she had done was walk to her car. So I said, did you eat? Did you drink? Did you fall down? Did somebody give you bad news? No. So I thought it has to be in the walking mechanism. Now, the hip generally is a simple ball and socket. Can't be that. The knee is a simple hinge. But the foot and ankle is not simple. There's 26 bones, muscles, ligaments, tendons, fascia, and joint surfaces that can get out of alignment. So just off the top of my head, I said, would you give me your foot? And I worked all the reflexes on the top, on the bottom, mobilized all the joints, and I turned the muscles on in the back of her leg. I said, now go to the car, but if you have any problem, come right back in. I want to see what it is. She went to her car. She didn't come back for 3 months. I thought, she's mad at me. In 3 months, she came back. She says, wow, that was the best treatment you ever gave me. She said, it lasted all this time.
So you were doing chiropractic at that time? Like that was a treatment you did before you did it?
No, I just did the 8. I just did the 8 dysfunctions.
Okay.
So then, when that treatment lasted 3 months, I said, I think I should work on everybody's foot. So when I worked on other people's foot, they all were gone 3 to 4 months between treatments because it lasted. Not only that, I didn't even have to do the 8 things. I just had to do the foot. So they'd just come in, put their feet up in the waiting room and say, hey, doc, I'm ready. There's my foot, right? So I said, what would happen now if I found something to put in the shoe that would literally guide the foot through the proper range of motion every time you take a step? Now my clients go 10 years.
Wow.
And they don't need a treatment.
That's awesome.
They have no pain. Yeah. They're full of energy. They're functional. They're happy. And they're happy to see me when I run into them.
Wow.
I mean, you need orthotics now.
You don't.
I do.
And I'm happy because I have a 33-year-old daughter who's handicapped. She lives in a wheelchair. I've been carrying her around for 33 years, and I couldn't do it if I didn't have this technology. I wouldn't be able to keep myself fit and healthy.
Wow. Awesome.
So can you, just by looking at a person, can you say, oh, that person needs orthotics?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's what she told me when she met you.
Well, that was my next question. Do I need orthotics?
Yes.
How about her?
Yeah.
Does she need orthotics?
Yes.
You know, I already fixed Nahum earlier in the day.
That was just a peripheral bit of entertainment on the upper cervicals.
Well, it sounds like I'm totally sold on this orthotics. Like, you know, so somebody, really, almost everybody, maybe everybody, should come and see you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right?
Everybody.
And
well, for the educational part of it, because this isn't taught in any schools, public school, high school, university, college, it's not taught.
But you had to learn this somewhere, because there are orthotic practitioners around, but it really sounds like you know what you're talking about.
Well, I learned my basic anatomy and physiology in school. And then I started applying what I knew. But the key to it is understanding applied kinesiology thoroughly. You have to have a thorough grasp of that. Mm-hmm. And then you can apply the key points of it to this technology.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that orthotics is the first place to start.
Yes.
Even if you're healthy.
Yes.
Right? Because it's a fabulous preventative, and and if you do have some problems.
Because even if you're healthy, you're still walking around with weak abs, weak glutes, weak quads, a tight psoas, and a diaphragm that's under stress.
Yeah, you.
Well, you know what I'm thinking? Because the diaphragm, we know how important the diaphragm is.
Yes.
Right? Because you actually, sing with it.
Yes.
I would think maybe it would help people sing better even.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Everyone's going to be a rock star with orthotics. Is that where we're going now? I think so.
You have much better breath control
True.
because your diaphragm is actually working the way it was designed to.
Wow. Okay. So I'm just curious. Now you're in Hamilton, but
Yes.
That's not very far away for people in Toronto even. And
I have clients all over the world, in Africa, Israel, Saudi Arabia,
do they come
Uzbekistan,
here? Yeah, how do they?
Pakistan. Yes.
and they come here.
Yes.
Wow.
They come to visit relatives.
Oh, right.
I have clients in New York, Cleveland,
Are you like?
Florida, California, Hawaii.
It sounds like you're like the best orthotic person, maybe anywhere. I mean, you really sound like you know what you're talking about
I can demonstrate it.
right now.
Yes.
How? Should we do it? Can we do it?
Yes.
We're on the camera.
Yes, you can do it.
Okay. What? What can we do?
Okay, you.
What? What to do?
Well, I'll have you just move your chair back a little bit.
We're gonna do our best to try to. Okay, I moved my chair back.
So I want you to sit on the front edge of your chair. Yes. And put your heels under your knees. You got it good.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good.
All right.
Cross your arms with your hands on your shoulders. Yes. Raise your heels up like a girl wearing high heels. Hold it like that. Now lean back 1 inch or so, right there. Hold it there. And don't let me push you back. I want you to resist me, okay? Do you feel how strong that is? Okay.
You or me?
Now drop the heels down. Drop the heels down.
Okay.
Now feel the difference in your strength.
Okay.
Put your feet flat on the floor.
Yeah.
Feel the difference in your strength.
Yeah.
Now, if you raise your heels up, lean back 1 inch. See there?
Yeah.
I want to do exactly the same
Right.
test
Okay.
each time. So there, your heels. Don't come forward, please.
Okay.
Just resist me when I push, and all I want you to feel is the strength. See? Strength. Now drop the heels. Feel the difference in the strength?
Yeah.
So that's just one muscle.
Okay.
The reason
You're so tired.
the reason why you're strong when your heels are up
Yeah.
is not about the heel. It's about the fact that the arch is in the foot.
So the lesson is not I shouldn't be wearing high heels.
No, it's not that.
That help.
It's that you should have the arch in your foot.
Yeah.
So there's
Interesting.
it's almost like if you were to compare it to architectural construction in a building, you'd say there's a fuse panel in there. And the fuse panel, when the arch is in, turns all the circuits on. So just to give you, put this up for a second, just to give you an idea how this works with another muscle. Raise this leg up. Keep this foot flat and keep that one flat. Don't let me push this down. You'll find it hard to resist, yes?
Yeah.
Now this time, point your toe and raise that heel. Hold it. Now feel the strength that comes in. Feel the strength. See how much stronger that is?
Interesting.
So your abs, your glutes, and your quads are turned off. Your psoas is too tight, and it's compromising the organs in your torso.
You're compromised, you.
Well, I think I wanna.
You need orthotics now. Sold.
So, and what is it, you know, I mean, what is it like, what does it cost for somebody to come in and get their orthotics done and deal with all this? Or should we...
Well, orthotics in the traditional format can cost anywhere from $400 up to $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have lots of thrown away pairs in my office that cost $1,000 or $1,200.
Right.
But when I make orthotics for people,
Yeah.
I make them 2 pair for $675, which is a fantastic deal. And you need 2 pair. One for your boots and one for your shoes. And in the summertime, you put one in your sandals and one in your runners.
Yeah, I see Stan's got some of his sandals.
Now, Royce is over there. Royce had a really bad case of knee pain.
Yeah.
The day he got fitted,
Yeah.
his knee pain was gone.
You know, I'm just curious about stuff like arthritis and diabetes and stuff
yeah.
like that. Like, you know.
We do that in follow-up visits.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Why did you say diabetes?
Just because.
Because we could get the pancreas working.
Oh.
Yeah, the pancreas.
You're smart.
Got to massage that pancreas.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yes.
Really? That's awesome. That's
Okay.
great.
All right. What else do we need to know?
Good
Sylvia?
guess.
I mean, this is really quite amazing. But anything else we need to know here today?
You don't have to have a doctor's referral to come to my office.
That's
Cool.
great.
I'm easy to get to right off the 403.
Yeah.
Anybody can come and have a complimentary consultation and visit. There's no charge for the complimentary consultation and visit. And they can decide what to do from there on once they have all the facts and they've had the experience.
So that they get to have a little bit of a sample of what orthotics can do for them.
Yes.
And as you said with like Royce, he felt the relief immediately. So are people going to feel it immediately? They're going to feel the benefit?
Yes. As soon as I fit them,
Yeah.
those muscles I just tested on you,
Yeah.
they will be strong and you won't have to hold your heel up to make them that way.
Wow.
When I have you hold your heel up and put your arch in, I'm only assessing the ability of the nervous system to respond to what we're doing.
Cool.
Because if somebody had a nervous system that didn't have the ability to respond, there's no point in me fitting them.
Right. Yeah.
So I know that ahead of time. I'm not going to pretend something works if it doesn't work. So we're going to know that before we go ahead.
Wow. Okay.
But I have had people who were in car accidents, had nerve damage, had serious headaches that were intractable, didn't respond to any medication. As soon as I fitted them with orthotics, they could immediately stand up straight. They weren't dizzy anymore.
Really?
They didn't waver anymore. Their neurological system worked far better.
And that's like a whiplash issue? Too?
Well, there's more things to do for whiplash.
Yeah.
We have to balance muscles in the upper half of the body to reestablish proper cervical movement in the neck.
Yeah.
And it depends if the whiplash is acute or if it's old and chronic. There's a different approach for those, but
Right. But I mean, that's a serious issue for a lot of people. But it sounds like a great strategy for people suffering from
Yes.
whiplash would be to come and see you.
yes.
Just to get the ball rolling.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Now, if somebody wants to come and either find out more, I'm assuming you have a website, and we can
Yes.
give people the contact information so they can get in touch and maybe set up their first appointment.
Yes, they can send me emails. They can ask me questions. They can phone me at my office phone number, and they can go to my website. There's testimonials there, and there's videos there for
Really?
them to
Okay, what is
watch.
the website for people to check out right now? who are watching this?
orthotics2go.com.
That's orthotics with the numeral 2.
Yes,
Go.
That's right.
Orthotics2go.com, which is great
that's right.
because you got to take it with you, right?
Very good. Thank you, Hugh.
Okay, Sylvia, thank you for coming in today, and it's been great. And
My pleasure.
Great.
I think I need to come down to Hamilton and pay you a visit.
Yes,
So thanks for coming in today.
you're welcome.
Okay. So Maha, I think we're going to take a little break.
Okay, sounds good.
Royce is here.
Yes,
I don't
he
know what we're
is.
going to talk to Royce about today, but
He's always full of
we
surprises.
had so many topics with Royce the last time that I can't wait to get him in his chair again.
Good
So
stuff.
let's take a little break. We'll come back
Yeah.
right after this. ThatChannel.com.